Oh, let me tell you, I have a friend, and she's in her late 60s, and she's gone crazy over aliens. She reads all this genre. It's all she wants to talk about. And her husband's kind of weird. I'm worried and kind of thinking about it. You know, this is new. She's never had this much interest in aliens.
Come hang with Homer, let's have a chat. Come hang with Homer, we guarantee that. Hanging with Homer is where you're at. You are now hanging with Homer.
Since we talked last, I've been to faraway land in USA. Where'd you go? I went way south. I just went due south. I went to Argentina. And I've always wanted to go to Argentina because the reputation of Argentina is the best beef in the whole wide world. I mean, anybody that's been there and experienced it, tasted it, they come back saying it's the best beef. So this was my this is my trip to test the beef. Anyway, flew down, got to Buenos Aires on a Saturday, and it was beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful town. I say Argentina is a blend of Spain and Italy. And it's really those two cultures and peoples coming together. They speak mostly 100% Spanish, as I could tell, but some of them are bilingual with Italian. But there's, yes, what else they got besides beef? Pizza. That comes from your Italian, right? But it's like no other pizza I've ever eaten. I've been to Italy and I've had pizza. Frankly, I wasn't impressed with their pizza. Pasta's fine in Italy. Artichokes, fine. Very good food, no problem. But when you go to Argentina, you get this blend of a different kind of pizza. It's real thick crust. Real thick toppings. Crust isn't that thick. It's deep dish. I'd call it deep dish. So a friend had gone in January, and he scouted out some places to eat, and I kind of followed him, and I believe he picked the best places for pizza and empanadas. That's another big thing to eat in Argentina. Literally, as tacos are here, empanadas are there. You can blindfold yourself and start walking, and you're going to run into some place that's selling empanadas. Now, what's an empanada? It's a stuffed pastry. It's empan, which is the Spanish word for bread, and then it's fried or baked, and it's filled with certain wonderful fillings. So I got to eat some empanadas. I got to eat some beef, and it's really good beef, really, really good beef. And the way they cook it is they char grill it. Everything is grilled, real good. There's just salt, pepper, and the meat, and the flavor of the meat is what stands out. So had a good time, walked all the streets of Buenos Aires. It's a beautifully laid out city. It's kind of colonial, small streets. The sidewalks are as big as the streets. So what does this tell a person? Just an observation. If you're doing a little cultural anthropology, these people respect humans more than machines. Their cars are secondary. Now, they have some boulevards, but most of the streets are real small. Most of the cars are real small. Not a lot of hot rods, just functional cars, here to there. Unlike the city I live in, our downtown is turned into a Formula One practically every night with 800 horsepower cars racing up and down the streets. And I can take you and show you donuts all through downtown. Now, donuts wouldn't work very well in Argentina. A lot of it is cobblestone streets, brick, and they're old. So doing donuts in downtown RBA would be kind of bad. So Argentina is this wonderful colonial, part Spain, part Italian fusion of cultures. And on Sunday, every Sunday in San Telmo, Telmo, San Telmo, is a is a market, outdoor market, like a lot of Latin American cities. This one is huge. I went over there on Sunday. As you walk, it's just blocks and blocks and blocks of vendors, mostly selling handmade things that are made in Argentina. A lot of leather in Argentina, as you would expect from the beef industry. The beef industry is huge there. In late 1800s, 1900s, Argentina was in the top richest countries of the world because of exports of beef, agriculture. As we flew into Buenos Aires, it's just farmland, mostly grains and soybeans, and then cattle, cattle ranches or farms and everything. So anyway, I got to do that, and that was a great time. And about a 10-hour, 30-minute flight down, about a 10-hour, 45-minute flight back, roughly, depending on the tailwinds. It's due south, but it's about 2 hours ahead of Central Time, so it's a little bit to the east of Texas. And, it's kind of interesting, when you look at a map, you say, well, we should have just flown from Dallas due south. That's not the fastest way. You need to go around. So you fly across Mexico, then you fly down the east coast of South America, then you cut across. And that's the fastest way to get to Argentina. Now, let me tell you my philosophy about airlines and flying long distances. I've flown hours and hours and hours on planes. To India, you don't get to India in a few hours. It's about 10 hours to Europe and about 10 hours from Europe to India. So I've flown business class. You say that's wonderful on those long flights. It is, but here's one thing about business or any other upgraded class seat. First of all, to make you feel real good, what are they going to do the whole trip? They're going to feed you. And what are they going to feed you? Well, they're going to feed you rolls. They're going to feed you candy bars, ice cream bar. So the last trip I made to India, I upgraded. It cost like 80,000 miles. I mean, a pile of miles. It would have been about $4,000. I got on there and I thought, I can't eat any of this stuff. I mean, really, I'm trying to watch my diabetes, and I don't want to get diabetes. So I thought, this is crazy. I'm paying a lot of money. It's yes, there's leg room there. That's a very nice feature. I don't sleep very well on planes. I'm fired up about getting somewhere. I'm reading. So that doesn't really interest. So on the trip down to Argentina, I sat in the back with, you might say, third class. You got first class or business class. You have, they call it premium economy or whatever American. And then you've got us in the back. I call it the peasants, the third class. The seats, the leg room's not that bad, but I always get an aisle. And not an aisle, window. I try to get a window. So I had a really nice window seat. I think it was 32L. It was a big 777. And here's one thing that physically, I never have been a great athlete. I've not excelled. I have no trophies like my friend Dan. He's got trophies everywhere. He broken records in school. But I tell you what I can do. I can fly all the way to Argentina and empty my bladder one time. And I told him that. And as you fly these long flights, you see overactive bladders. And it's over and over and over. If I were a urologist, I would put cards in the bathrooms because those people coming in and out, they do need some help. And it's long flight, and there's things you can take for your bladder. There's certain foods they talk about you can do, but one thing is you can train your bladder by not taking a lot of liquids in 4 hours before your flight. Okay, that's definitely going to put you into hyper bladder mode, overactive bladder. But I know some people have medical conditions where they need surgery or something, but I had to get out one time. I hated to upset my seatmates because they were sleeping very well. But I said, I've really got to go. So it was about 9 hours into it. And so little things like that as you age in life become very, very pertinent and important, frequency of bathroom visits.
What were some of the standout foods? You said, I know you originally wanted to try some empanadas down there. What were the standouts?
If you go to Argentina, you're entering empanada land. I would say like you go to Mexico, you're entering taco land. If you go to Austin, you're eating super taco land. Because in Austin, you can throw a rock and hit 10 taco shops or 10, But down there, it's empanadas. Empanadas are paired with everything. Pizza places have empanadas, steak places. It's an appetizer. It's what people order. So the empanadas are very, very good. It's the way they stuff them and cook them. It's an art. I read a recipe on how Argentines make the dough, and they use kidney fat from the beef. The kidney is the richest. The fat around the kidney is the best. And one time I decided, hey, I want to try this. So I went to a butcher. I got some kidney fat, and he got to render it, take it down to grease, and then mix it with dough. And it's great. It's a whole different flavor. So I love the pizza. I'm obviously dietary restrictions. Pizza's not on my main diet, but there the toppings. There was one topping that was a grilled cooked onions with mozzarella, and they put olives in it. Oh my, it was so just wonderful.
Before your trip to Argentina, you went to Vegas. What can you tell us about Vegas this time?
Well, Vegas is cutting edge for a lot of high-tech technology to be birthed there. One is, Elon has this boring company where he, like a gopher, he puts holes through the ground, and there's a boring company has a Las Vegas tunnel through the convention center and over to the Sphere, and they're expanding it like crazy. But this time, I got to see and ride in a Zoox, Zoox, which is an autonomous robotic taxi sponsored or funded by Amazon, and they rolled them out right now in Vegas and San Francisco. I got to ride in one, and it was really interesting. It took me 45 minutes to get booked, okay, because this is a free thing. They're just trying to get people to use it. So I went up to Wynn. They had like 3 or 4 pickup points. I went up to Wynn Casino, and I waited, and here they show you, okay, here comes your Zoox. I get in, takes me down to New York, about a 20-minute maybe ride, very comfortable. Going down Las Vegas Boulevard, and there's a car stalled in front of us, and there's nobody in the car. There's nobody to talk to. But anyway, it stopped enough distance, and then it went around very safely.
What else were you doing in Vegas this trip? Were you doing anything specific, or?
I just went there. I was in there for a couple of meetings, and then after Vegas, I flew to Argentina. There's a lot of trade shows in Vegas, and we buy some things from people there.
So in the news this week, they've been talking about the Artemis launch, going back to the moon. What do you think about that? You got any thoughts?
Well, the first moon trip, I was very young, but it was captivating. We watched the whole thing, and some people said we didn't go to the moon, but it looked like to me we went to the moon. They landed on the moon. We had it on TV. There were 3 networks. I think it's good. I think they're testing out speed, new systems, maybe in not too distant future a colony on the moon, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, the moon is our most well. It's the first place we could get to real easy. Okay, Mars is 9 months, and then it's not inhabitable. The soil has a toxicity in it. You can't last on Mars. Moon, you can last there. You have to have some oxygen and create some safe spaces, with like a bubble people would love it there. People that build these bubbles and stay in them. Maybe people that just sit in their rooms and do video games all day. I think they'd be fine on the moon. They could live fine there if you could get food from DoorDash or Uber to go to the moon and deliver them stuff. Some of these present-day kids would enjoy it, I'm sure. It's remote enough, and you don't have to interact with any humans that you don't want to. In my life, aliens, the first real interaction with aliens was Roswell. And if you've not been to Roswell, I highly recommend it. It's fantastic. It's turned into this alien church. It's like a church. They've got their people that they listen to. They've got their fathers, church fathers. They've got their founding fathers. So anyway, Roswell, perfect alien, stepping off point. So what do I think? If an alternative life is out there, I don't think it'll be exactly what we're looking for. So we're going to have to really be, we're going to have to widen and be open-minded to what alien life is out there. It could be something we've never envisioned. Getting here from where they are, they may be easy, and they may already be here. Who knows? It's a great genre of literature and movies, keeps a lot of people employed. It used to be just talk radio at AM at night. Cross-country truckers, they knew more about aliens, UFOs, than anybody. But now, with the internet and all these subgroups that you can get into, and you can listen to alien stuff 24/7 all day. So I'm reluctant to accept just the fact that somebody's saying they were in touch with aliens, they've been maybe abducted by aliens. I got to have a little more proof, but it's great stories. It's really good stories.
Tying into aliens, I know you have a lot of products that have maybe aliens and quirky things. You want to talk about some of the Homer's Dig, some new products you may have?
Well, we're constantly creating new products. This is one recently that last week I came up with. See, Dragonfly. Now, that is a product that we innovated. I had the magnifying glass put on it, and we just made these yesterday. But we're always innovating and trying to come up with something that people would feel good wearing and get some attention. You know this hat I wear? I've got this Hatband with the little skulls on it. I wear it all over the world. I mean, I've worn it everywhere, and people are constantly complimenting me on this hat. One TSA guy really loved it, and I just wanted to give it to him because he hadn't had any pay or food in a long time, and he was complimenting me on my hat. But I think that people are really wanting to express themselves more and more. We have infinite possibilities in parts back here where people can put together and express themselves. I'm a fan of Mel Robbins. She's a very, very, prolific interviewer, the Mel Robbins podcast. So last week, we're recording this on April 3rd, and she had a guest this week, actually, on the emotional closet. And Mel, she really sells her podcast guests big, and sometimes you say, wow, it can't be that good, Mel. It can't be that good. She's overly sold on every one of her guests, which is what you would want. If I ever have guests on, I'm going to be really happy with my guest, okay? This woman has written a book called, I believe it's called Intentional Dressing, like you dress. And she's an expert in dress and how you dress yourself. And the topic is called the emotional closet. And really what she recommends we do is ask ourselves as we look in our closet before we get dressed in the morning, is what would make me feel this way? Say, you want to feel this way? What are the clothes I've got? And the idea is you intentionally get the clothes that you want to have the attitude that day. So, and then she goes into how much excess that does not make people feel good, and they never wear this stuff, and it's drag on their psyche by their closets. And then if you go across America very, very much, you go to estate sales, you will come to the conclusion that the houses are full of clothes. And what do we do with them? We give them away, and they go to Goodwill, bundled up back to China, and they're made into felt, like rabbits, little chickens. You go to Hobby Lobby, those are all your clothes. That's what they do with them. So the idea is to intentionally dress. I believe it's a fantastic podcast this week, and highly recommend it.
Talking about clothes and wearing stuff, you want to talk about Barry from Food Giant?
So I started following Barry Dabbs on TikTok. Every morning, he's a store director at a Food Giant in Hueytown, Alabama, and he's become a very, very popular, just a person who's transparent, he's real, it's perfect for talking to people. He's been a store director at Food Giant for 42 years. In the mornings, he will give you a review of their hot bar for their breakfast. It looks really good. And their lunch looks really good. And then he talks about his life, and his wife is into Legos. I mean, big Legos. He just had a contest where people submitted what Lego features she should make. These are Lego sculptures. By the way, Legos is an amazing company. If you've traveled much, they have Legos stores in the airports. It's amazing. So Barry, a few weeks ago, he's wearing a black hat, Western boots. I said, Barry needs bolos. Barry needs a bolo. So we made 3 bolos, and I wrote him a nice letter telling him how much we appreciated what he did, sent him those bolos. And practically every day he's wearing one of the 3 bolos. If you go to TikTok and type in Barry Dabbs, you'll see him with one of our bolos generally every day. He sells some T-shirts, but he's very authentic. He talks about his life, and he's been there doing that store director. He was an EMT before this. He got tired of just picking people up off the streets and crashes, and he walked into Food Giant and said, I'd like to work here 42 years ago. He started as a sacker, now he's a store director.
Speaking of bolo ties, does that bolo tie you're wearing right now have any specific?
Yeah. There is a TikTok guy from Mississippi State University called Dr. Jerome Goddard. He does a weekly or a bi-monthly called The Bug World, and he talks real interesting about bugs. He's a PhD there at the Mississippi State Extension. He's real big into ticks. Now, this is a bee. I don't have a tick. I wish I did, Dr. Goddard. I don't have a tick. I've never seen a really good tick charm. They're little bitty, and they're just basically legs and a couple of big fangs, okay? Fangs. That's what you would find in a tick. You'd have to blow it up. But I got you a bee. We're going to send this bee over to him, which I think he loves all insects. Big into spiders. His 3-part series on bed bugs is a must listen. If you at all have had any encounter with the bed bug, you need to listen to this. He disproves all these homeopathic things that you think you can get rid of your bed bugs with. He dispels that because, well, first of all, bed bugs have been here for 200 million years. They survived the dinosaurs. You think you're going to feed them some kind of a rock salt or something that you can go pick up? They eat that stuff and they get more fortified. You have to have a professional to come in. Now, he also talks about going to a hotel, how to go in there and look at your bedding to make sure you're not just falling into a bed bug trafficking hotel where you're going to traffic those suckers back to your house. One time we had bed bugs, and it was a hard thing to get rid of. We called a professional, finally came in. He said to us, "You don't have any bed bugs." I said, "We do have. We've got the proof." No, the places I go around this town, I've seen some massive bed bug infestations. Elderly people don't know they've got them. The bed bugs get in the beds, and they wreak havoc on a person. So I highly recommend Dr. Jerome Goddard, and look for a bolo tie on him. We think he'll wear it. I might find a spider. He's really big into spiders too. He loves spiders, and he's comical. I highly recommend his podcast.
Speaking of bolo ties and kind of the Western theme, I sent you that video of the Ella Langley song, Choosing Texas, and it mentions Abilene. It's supposed to be filmed in Abilene. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's perfect attire for the Western, motif. I learned going to Argentina, boladeros is probably where this bolo originated. It was a horse accessory on the horses. So we got a lot of our Western culture from Spain. That came up through Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico, and then we adapted to it. Well, they had a lariat on a horse, and they had these little weights on it. One day, somebody took that off and put it around their neck, and they called it a bolo. That's kind of what I have come to the conclusion. So, what do I think about Choosing Texas? You can't get away from that song. It's everywhere. You go to anywhere on TikTok, I get 5 versions of it. Bolos are perfect for that song, and the cats are wearing bolo. the animated cats are putting them on. So we're selling a lot of bolos. Yes, bolos are trending. Bolos are a costume piece of jewelry that you can put on, and you can put yourself into a different setting or different costume with just one accessory.
Yeah, that song specifically, I know it was the #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100, first country song since I believe the 90s.
Wow.
There was an actual country song that was the top song
It's
on the Billboard
hot.
100.
It's a really good song, yeah. So Abilene is still pretty much the epicenter of AI. Microsoft, I just heard, has put $10 billion into one of our AI projects. These projects are massive, and they just keep building more and more. Right near Impact, Texas. And you say, well, what is Impact, Texas? Oh, man, Impact, Texas, talk about a history. Impact, Texas was a town that was created just for alcohol, just so people in Abilene could have alcohol. Some guys got together one day and said, we could incorporate a city, and I could become mayor, and I could just say, okay, we're going to have alcohol. And they did it, and his name was Dallas Perkins. You can look him up. Dallas Perkins set up Impact, and the AI data center is just like a stone's throw outside from Impact. People don't know how big Impact was on the drinking community here. It was big. It was fought with a lot of resistance, as you might expect. A lot of people thought that bringing drinking here was going to turn this thing into a terrible Western saloons, gunfight, shooting each other all the time. Lots of Western videos, movies depicted drinking saloons. People meet me outside in the street, and go out there, shoot each other, maims, problems. But actually, the alcohol didn't have as bad of impact on Abilene as we might expect. Religious people, actually, who were opposed to it very strongly, started adapting to it. They started adapting to alcohol. Now, technology and change in the cultures, like AI is one thing. Lots of people are real scared of AI. It's going to take over the world, going to turn us into a bunch of zombies. And that can happen, but normally technology adds to something that it takes people away from having to do, like a spreadsheet. Look at a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet freed up a lot of human creativity to do something else. You didn't have to have all these ledgers. AI is going to free up a lot of people to do other things and to be creative. And there's a whole lot of interest in driverless cars, which I was talking earlier about the Zoox. Those are all AI generated. So, 3 to 4 years from now, this is going to be a very, very different world with automation, animation, and small companies can take advantage of this in a big world, in a big way. Hey, I want to thank you for hanging with Homer. It's just me, but soon we plan to bring on some guests, and there's some really cool guests I've got lined up. People that I believe their stories are, they're one of a kind, and I want to thank you for subscribing. If you subscribe to our Hanging with Homer, that helps me. That helps me get recognized, and YouTube is a great platform, and we would appreciate you subscribing. And if you hear anything that you'd like to pass on, just forward it to a friend. That would be very, very appreciative.
Hanging with Homer.